completely unrelated to scams or anything. Andrei, there was this video that you took down about this coin.
Yeah.
Unrelated to, what we were talking about. What can you say about that coin, without naming the coin?
Oh gosh.
Wow.
What coin is it? Oh, is it?
You can talk about it.
Yeah, we could talk. Okay, this is the first time. Yeah. Wow.
I don't know much about it other than the video that I made on it.
Yeah.
So just for anybody unaware, that was called the Million Token, right? From TechLead. So he released that token, and I guess when he launched it, it was supposed to be backed $1 for every coin that he released, and it was only supposed to be $1 million. Well, it turns out that I think he initially put in like $50,000 into it, and he didn't have the full $1 million. But by that point, when he was quote unquote exposed for not having done that, the project was so valuable that he could easily just liquidate his holdings and represent the $1 million one for one. So it was just more of like a political witch hunt, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
And so a creator, Coffeezilla, made a video on TechLead, and they had this, like what I like to call the most toxic collaboration on YouTube I've ever seen.
It was interesting.
It was interesting.
I like those back and forths.
I can't stand those. When they're just like back and forth arguing with each other, right? And it's so interesting because I feel like TechLead really got Coffeezilla to play into his project. Like he played him like a fiddle. He really did this intentionally. Now, when I released my video and I saw Coffeezilla release his, I was like, oh gosh, well, if it's true and if this project really is a scam, I should probably take my video down because I don't want anybody else to get hurt. And for doing that, I started to notice like my YouTube channel started to get negative comments, and I'm like, what's going on? That's when I found out what was going on. And to this day, none of it makes any sense to me because even though I took my video down, TechLead and Coffeezilla have made these videos back and forth with each other. Meanwhile, I take my video down. You have to remember, TechLead is making money off of his project. He's making money off of his videos. Coffeezilla is making money off of TechLead's videos. They're having this toxic collaboration where they're both making money off of each other, and I'm the idiot in the middle that's not making money off of anything. And I'm just like, gosh, I should just take this video down because it doesn't make sense.
I think the moral of the story is to keep the video up because once the video's on YouTube, for the most part, it's up there. Somebody's downloaded it, somebody's reacted to it, somebody's responded to it.
Well,
somebody could find it. And then if you take it down, the immediate go-to is, what is he hiding?
Right.
Why did he have to take it down?
Yeah.
He wouldn't take it down if he didn't do something wrong.
Right.
And that's why I've always had this philosophy where if I post something up there, I'm going to keep it up.
Right.
And it's just because otherwise if you take it down now, it's like, I'd rather,
Generally, I agree with you. I took it down and I waited until TechLead made a response. That's what I said. I was like, I'll wait until the creator makes a response that makes sense. I'll put it back up. TechLead never really made a non-sarcastic response that I understood because all of his videos are very sarcastic. So I watched all of his videos, but it didn't feel as though he addressed directly. It was like character assassinations back and forth. But what's interesting to me, though, is that after I made my community post explaining what happened, explaining my position, Coffeezilla made a comment on my community post that's like, oh, well, good job. You made the right decision. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I'm like, wait a minute. These two guys are giving each other so much toxic attention, and this project is getting so much attention, and Coffeezilla is making money off of this project because they're making videos about each other. How is it my responsibility to take my video down? Meanwhile, he's making 5 or 6 videos on his Million Token. It just it's a double standard. It doesn't make any sense because I have nothing to benefit from. Coffeezilla's making money, TechLead's making money, and yet Coffeezilla's like, oh, good job for taking it down. I'm like, wait a minute, should it be your responsibility to not make videos about this either because you're giving it way more attention than my one video did?
Well, I think the difference is that Coffeezilla really called it out negatively. I think your video, from what I remember,
was neutral.
Yes. It wasn't positive. It wasn't negative. It was right in the middle.
Right.
And so people can interpret that however they like. They could interpret that positively, or they could just be, I'm not interested. Right. Coffeezilla was very much on the side of this is bad, this is negative, these are lies.
Sure. But he's smart enough to know, and so is TechLead, and so is Coffeezilla. They're both smart enough to know that regardless of what the message is, positive, negative, or neutral, the end result is that you're still bringing more attention to a project that Coffeezilla otherwise believes is a scam.
I don't believe.
Look, you're right. You bring more attention to it, but at the same time, I bet that the net change in people buying and selling Millionaire Token, considering Coffeezilla making these videos, is probably fewer people.
No.
Or
incorrect.
You think so?
I know so.
that more people bought it after
Absolutely.
Coffeezilla made his videos.
Yes.
But then again, wouldn't these people just be negligent?
Doesn't matter.
Or they go into it is just like at least knowing that like, hey, this is what's going on. Let me take a risk on it.
The general rule of thumb for crypto, and this isn't always true, but it happens more often than you think, is that whenever a project is having negative publicity and negative attention, that's when people buy in more. Because they see it as an opportunity. They're like, ooh, it's dipping. I should buy in now. And whenever somebody praises a project, and believe it or not, I've seen this on my own YouTube videos. Whenever I say something is going to the moon or something is a really cool project, that same day the project will dip. And that's just because people assume, they're like, oh, well, if Andrei found out about this, that means we're at the top, right? Now the public is talking about this. So to answer your question, that attention that they brought on the project actually had a net benefit effect. And I'm telling you, both of those guys are smart enough to understand that. So I don't want to be the mascot of the scapegoat for all of this negative attention. That's why I took the video down.
I get that. I don't know.
Don't blame you, yeah.
As far as my thoughts, not that anyone asked for it.
Right.
I'm pretty much neutral on this too. I think a lot of the accusations that were made, not the biggest deal to me. I would see these things and just be like, all right, I think there's a lot of nuance there, and like not putting up a full million, it doesn't really seem needed. There is no evidence that he cashed out. He made money on the project, but he should make money on the project because he created it. I don't see that as an issue. It didn't have the most success. I mean, it mooned right when it launched. I mean, gosh, it went all the way up to 200 and something. It had like a $200 million market cap, which was nuts. Now it's down to like 16, 15 million. So whoever bought it 200 and it's now down at 16, they lost a lot of money.
Lost a lot for sure.
But for the people who bought in at $1, it was a smart concept.
For sure.
I mean, part of me thinks it's like, not that I would ever do this, but like, why didn't I think of it? It was one of those things.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like putting up $1 million as a social experiment and just back it with your own money for $1 million. I mean, like, there's nothing you could lose on that.
I'm not discounting that as something I wouldn't try. Like, I would love to do that at some point. And just because he's done it doesn't mean that it can't be done again. I feel like that's something I would love to try at some point. I don't know. Like, I don't have plans for it. But I'm just saying, like you said, it's a great idea.
It's a good idea.
It's a great idea.
I bet he had to have had so many lawyers looking through this, because the thing with TechLead is that he's not dumb.
No, he's very smart.
He is really smart. And I think he just thinks on like a level outside of what, like, most people are in this like sphere of like where they think. I think TechLead is like over here. And just thinking of all these abstract thoughts and ideas and what could happen, this and that. So I'm thinking he's planned like 5 moves ahead and isn't going to get sued, is not going to subject himself to the SEC. But there were some things he was saying, like it could go to the moon. This could be like some of that wording. It kind of got me where it's like, it feels like a security. It does.
Well,
So
speaking of securities, did you see Coinbase
I
being
did.
regulated potentially for the lend